Can't get any worse. Podcast on blast, giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse Podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. Happy Tuesday to you all. It's currently a drizzly Monday here in Brisbane. Don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods, but fuck me, have I got a day ahead of me. It's my Mondays are jam-packed now that I've got to basically fit in like what I used to do in a week into one day. But nothing fun. I came in last week and I was mentioning that I was selling my old ute and looking for a new car, things like that. So one of those has been ticked off. I got a new car this week. So job number one after this podcast is I've got to go to hell on earth. And I think everyone knows what I'm going to talk about, the Department of Transport. Is there a worse place in society than the Department of Transport? We could actually touch on it in my week in comedy. We might have a contender. But I won't diss Department of Transport too much at this stage. I could have a pleasant experience. But long story short, I landed on a car. Now, it was not the car that I thought I was going to get. This car, to be honest, I had it in like my save searches or whatever it is for probably 2 weeks now, but nothing jumped out about it to me. I was just like, that's a fucking boring car. Definitely don't want that, but it was cheap and the like kilometers and shit was super low. So I was like, all right, I'll put it there as a last resort because in my head, this is what I thought I was going to get, right? Now, sole purpose of getting the new car was to be able to pick the kids up from school next year because they're both at school. And I couldn't do that in my single cab work ute. So I needed 5 seats, minimum 5 seats. And I was looking at like Barinas and fucking cars like that, you know what I mean? But I just could not see myself driving one of them. And I'm sure you guys watching right now are looking at me going, why would you fucking drive a Barina, you dumb fuck? And you're exactly right. So I was like, okay, let's reassess. And I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe for a bit of inspiration and to just put a fire under my ass, you know what I mean? Let's start, because I noticed a couple of these popping up in my searches and I'm like, surely they're not that cheap. And I just saw some like lower base level Mercedes and BMWs and shit popping up. And I'm like, fuck, I'm going to get one of them. I'm going to get a Mercedes sedan or a BMW sedan or something. And I was looking at them all and I was sold. I'm like, 100%, this is what I'm fucking doing. Going to get in my car every morning. I'm going to look in the middle of the steering wheel, just see a fucking Mercedes logo. And I'm just going to be like, let's fucking hustle today. You know what I mean? And on, I don't know, one afternoon last week, I messaged one that I was like, this is it. This is the one. It was perfect. It was like this real like bright sky blue Mercedes. It looked fucking sick, right? The interior was all immaculate, like new age looking. And I'm like, I'm putting a deposit on this bad boy. And I went and test drove this thing. Possibly one of the worst cars I've ever driven, which I know is probably blasphemy to say about a Mercedes, but I'm assuming they have like their base level cars that they just flog off just to like as like a recurring car on the road, you know what I mean? And then I'm assuming when you get to like the $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, then you start getting some of their luxury features and the nice drive and things like that. But this thing was gutless. It was rough as fuck. And the other thing that fucked me, and I knew about this before I drove it, but European cars, how the indicator's not on the right. It was like, what was it? I forget. It was, indicators on the left and then windscreen wipers are a dial. And I'm like, every fucking day, because that was I felt kind of bad for the lady that was with me because it didn't have a gear stick, right? The gear stick is on your steering wheel where the indicators normally are. So we're driving and every corner I turned, I was just knocking it back in neutral because I'm used to hitting it that way. and the engine would just rev, and I'd be like, oh, sorry about that. Like, I thought she was going to make me drive the car just for fucking destroying the engine. Anyway, so I'm like, all right, they're off the cards. I'm not fucking buying one of them because I will hate it every day. So I start looking at cars again, and I'm like, as much as I didn't want to do it, because I've always had utes, and I'm like, I want a sedan. I want a cool car. I'm over utes. I don't want to be a tradie for the rest of my life. So let's fucking not look at them, right? And then I was looking at them. Everyone I was messaging, I'd like line up to go see it the next day. Then the next morning they'd message me and be like, oh, someone came this morning, put a deposit on. I'm like, fuck my life. So I was scrolling through my save searches, and this car pops up that I saved a couple of weeks ago that I fucking hated. And I'm like, I'm over looking at cars at this point. I was getting ready to go back and get that Mercedes just so I didn't have to look at cars anymore. And message this bloke, and I rock up, nicest old man you've ever fucking met, right? And he's just super fucking polite. He's telling me his life story and shit. And we're looking over the car, and like super weird, but he fully reminded me of like my granddad, who was just like loved his car, like looked after his car nonstop. And he was just showing me all these little things that he's done to it that, like, at the end of the day, I'm never going to notice or not care. But he was just showing me all this shit. And like, you could tell that he was sad to let the car go, but he fucked his knee, so he can't use the clutch in it anymore. And I'm like, oh, buddy, me too. But I'm out of options. So yeah, ended up buying this car. Full fucking grandpa spec, which I secretly love about it. You know what I mean? Like it's like a D40 Navara for anyone that knows what that is. But it's like paint's immaculate, inside's like it's not pristine, but it's pretty good for a car that age. And like, yeah, this dude has looked after it from day one. He had all his receipts from when he bought it at the dealership down the road, however many years ago, and just everything he's ever done. There's a receipt in the glove box, and I'm like, fuck me. I feel bad that I'm now the new owner of this car, and I'm just going to, like, who knows, spill a fucking Big Mac all over the steering wheel. And then this guy's going to wake up in the middle of the night and be like, my car. But yeah, so that's step one done. Got to go and put that in my name this morning because Department of Transport isn't open. That was the other thing. So I'm test driving it, and I go, this was Friday afternoon. I go, look, I'm pretty much sold, mate. I'll go home, work out if I definitely want it and things like that. And if I can pick it up this afternoon or Saturday, is that cool? He's like, yeah, I got the roadworthy. It's all ready to go. And I go, yeah, well, it should be pretty easy because it's all online now. You just log on, you do your thing. And then I get an email, I fill mine out, which is how it's been the last couple of cars I've bought, right? And he goes, yeah, I've heard that. Like, this dude's, I don't know, in his 80s. I'd have to say in his 80s, I guess. Anyway, I rock up to pick the car up, and he's got the old school fucking, he's driven down to the Department of Transport because it's the official document. It's not the ones that you print off the internet. He's got the official fold-out book from the Department of Transport. And he, again, this is the first time I've ever done this when I've bought a car. Normally, I've bought a car and they'll just be like, oh, I've put my signature on there, fill it out, like whenever you get home, blah, blah, blah. This dude set up his table. He had a pen and shit for me. And we just fucking had to sit there filling out forms together. I was like, fucking Jesus. But, yeah, so I got to go to Department of Transport this morning, put that form in. They're probably going to be like, oh, we don't do these forms anymore. And I'm going to have to be like, oh, fucking no, but this bloke just wanted to do it this way. It's going to be a fuck around. I can already see it. But, yeah, that leads us to the next step of sell my old ute. Finally got the fucking stickers off over the weekend. As I said last week, they're an absolute cunt to get off. And there were just basically 3 patches left on the bonnet. And I just could not get them off with whatever I was trying. So I've come inside and I've Googled different ways. And I come across this video called a caramel wheel. And basically what that is, it's a little rubber disc that you put in the end of your drill. And it spins and fucking somehow chews away the sticker but doesn't chew away the paint. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense in my head because it's a fucking rubber wheel. Like, whatever it hits is going to burn, like, in my head. But I'm like, they've obviously purposely built these. Like, I'm watching all these videos. They're not having any issues. So, of course, what happens to me? I go to Bunnings. I buy one of these caramel wheels. I get home full of confidence. I'm like, this is going to work. These stickers are going to be off in no time. And car's going to be on Gumtree by the end of the day. And first fucking dip of the drill on my bonnet burns a bit of the paint away. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. So yeah, I don't know if I just accidentally held it in the one spot for too long. But once I got the hang of it, fucking chewed the stickers off like nothing. So one sec. Oh yeah, always nice to clear your throat in people's eardrums on a Tuesday morning. But yeah, stickers are all off now. One little burn mark, which you've got to be fucking looking for it to know it's there. But yeah, caramel wheel for anyone trying to get stickers off their cars for future reference. Anyway, that's enough about cars. What else is fucking happening this week? Here's a good one to touch on. I came on here last week, went on my little rant about Nikita and how she's not exactly how I paint her on the podcast and things like that. And she gets home from work on Monday afternoon. This is Monday afternoon, right? Fresh after the podcast has been recorded. The podcast is still uploading to YouTube as we're about to experience what we're about to experience. So she gets home from work. I'm like, babe, I set the record straight on the podcast today. There's going to be no issues moving forward. Everyone thinks you're the smartest cookie in Brisbane. And she's like, wow, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. We fucking fist bump, high five. Let's get on with our lives. Now, our bin day is Tuesdays here, right? So Monday nights, we take the bins out. 99% of the time, that's a me job. Lately, Westy has enjoyed wheeling the bins out, and I'm not opposed to it. The other, I think that's one of the cool parts about having kids is like the slave labor that you get. Like on the weekend, I did the lawns, and Westy's like, "Can I mow while you do the whippersnipping?" And I'm like, "I thought this day would never come." So he starts mowing, and look, I've spoken about my lines a little bit on the podcast before, and look, my lawn is absolute dog shit. It's got dirt patches everywhere. It's shit, but something about mowing your lawn and looking at it in the afternoon sun, and you can just see those lines of the straight mow, you know what I mean? Something about that just gives me a little bit of pride inside, and then the weeds grow through and it just gets fucked again. So Westy starts mowing, and he's got no rhythm or method behind his madness. He's just doing zigzags. He's chopping across the yard. He's fucking going up and back. He's going every direction. He's doing circles and shit. He's doing circle works. He's making fucking what are those alien things? Oh my god, crop circles. He's doing crop circles in my yard in Logan. I'm surprised Elon didn't come and land in my yard. We're going to touch on Elon later in the episode. He's doing some crazy shit. But where was I? What was I fucking talking about? Oh yeah, Westy takes the bins out. Anyway, that has no fucking reason to be in the story. But you guys know my sidetracked brain. So we settle everything. It's Monday night. I'm having issues uploading the podcast last week. We don't need to fucking get into it, right? Anyone that watched on YouTube will know that the last 5 to 7 minutes had no video. I don't know why. Fucking write me a letter. Write my management a letter. CantGetAnyWorsePod@gmail.com for anyone that does want to get involved. Anyway, Nikita goes, "Oh, I've got to take this rubbish bag out. I'll take the bins out while I'm going." I'm like, fucking, this is amazing. This is amazing. We've just had this chat. The record's straight. Nikita's a genius. She's the most perfect woman in the world, right? You can't get any better. And I'm tippy-tapping away on my computer. And normally when she re-enters the house, I hear the front door open and close. And then if she wants to talk, then there might be some sort of conversation. But what I hear is no front door open. I just hear a voice come through the screen door that says, "Babe, can you come here?" And I'm like, oh, here we go. What's happened? Is there a toad at the front door that she doesn't want to step over? Is the bin too heavy for her to wheel out? Multiple things are running through my head. What actually happened, I did not guess. I should have. I fucking should have in hindsight, but I did not guess. I walk to the front door and she goes, "I dropped my phone in the bin." And I'm like, of course you did. Of course you dropped your phone in the bin. I go, okay, no worries. I'm sure it's just fucking at the top somewhere because you've just put one bag in. So if you've dropped it, it's probably landed just underneath that bag or something. And she goes, it's at the very bottom of the bin. And I'm like, cool. So now we have to tip our entire fucking rubbish bin out on our front yard and pick it all up. And then she says this as if it's some sort of silver lining. She goes, the good thing is I had my torch on while I was walking the bin out. And I'm like, thank God. So all we can see at the bottom of the bin through all the rubbish is just a faint iPhone light just shining through at us as if to say, please fucking help me. And I thought the phone was going to be ruined, like just a mixture of bin juices, and it's been a rainy week in here, in Brisbane, like I said at the start of the episode. So I thought the phone was fucked. I thought we're going to be in for a world of hurt. But yeah, we tipped the bin out. We tipped probably 60% of the contents out, and Nikita's like, I think I can reach it. So she reaches in and grabs the phone and pulls her hand out. And she's like, yes, I got my phone. And then she looks at her arm, and I don't know what she fucking touched in there. Maybe like a beetroot can or something. But her arm was just covered in this like reddy purpley juice. And I'm like, that's fucking gross. But yeah, I just want to reiterate, Nikita is a perfectly functional member of society who doesn't do anything wrong. So yeah, that's how we should cap that story off. What else has happened this week? Let's see what else is up there. Oh yeah, these are two bad ones. They're not bad. I found them funny. Let's see if you guys find them funny. Let me have a little drink. These are my two can't get any worse stories of the week. So first one, I was at the gym the other morning. Now, my gym it's a regular gym, right? Good Life Health Club. So it has a change room with some toilets, with some showers, there's a sauna in there. So a common gym change room, right? Now, I'm fucking smashing weights, right? I'm throwing weights around like they're nothing. And I go, oh, I need to go do a little wee-wee. So I start to proceed to the toilet, which is at the back of the gym. And just as I start my walk from where I was working out, I see another bloke enter the change rooms, right? So he's probably 10 to 15 seconds ahead of me. So he's obviously entered the toilet. I've entered the change rooms 10 to 15 seconds later. But to get to the toilet, you walk through the change area and then turn a corner to the toilets. Now, as I've entered the change rooms, I go, oh, and this happens more than you'd know. All I can hear is a tap, full fucking ball. Like somebody's just left a tap on just for the fun of it. I don't know if it's young kids or whatever. So I can hear that when I enter the change room. So in my head, I'm like, I'm switching that motherfucker off when I get there. I'm doing my part for society. You know what I mean? I'm going to get an email from the gym later this week, and they're going to go, hey, we noticed that you switched our tap off for us. Here is a reduction in your gym fees for the next 6 months just for saving us some money. So I get to the toilet part. Now, there's one cubicle shut. Obviously, the man that entered the toilet just before me. And I go and turn the tap off, and then I enter the cubicle next to him because there's 3 cubicles. There's the one on the right that the man's in. The one on the far left, I wouldn't fucking... It was blown to pieces, right? So I was like, all right, middle cubicle it is. I go in the middle cubicle just after I've turned the fucking tap off, right? And I shut the door, and I just hear this guy go, oh no, and just fucking explosive diarrhea, just fucking for like 10 seconds straight, like the worst stomach you've ever heard. And in my head, it popped in at that moment that this man obviously knew that he was just coming to the toilet with an extremely upset tummy, and he's like, oh, I know what I can do to half drown out the sound from anyone that might enter the change room. I'll just quickly switch this tap on. I'll get the full fucking brunt of the force out before anyone else enters. And then by that time, it'll just be a nice steady flow that I can disguise with grunts and like sneezes and shit. And I've obviously blown this man's cover, and I've just got to stand there. I just got to stand next to this bloke while he's just fucking splattering the bowl, right? I should have prefaced this. This is a pretty gross story. But yeah, I just had to awkwardly stand there for the entirety of my piss. I almost wanted to whisper through the partition like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. But yeah, luckily I don't think we made eye contact. Well, he didn't see me, so I knew who he was when he re-entered the gym. He did not know my identity, so my secret is safe with you, sir, until it happens again. But here's another one. This one was pretty funny as well, I thought. It goes a little something like this. Good times. So I had to go. I obviously wrapped up the business, but there was a job that I finished whatever my last week of work was, right? And this client was a little like pedantic. It was one of those clients, right, that I just really had to walk through the process and just everything had to be by the book, and it was just it was a job. It was a job. Let's say that. It was a job that paid me money, and I did the install, went perfectly, but in the back of my head, I'm like, something's going to pop up. And sure enough, I get a phone call a couple days later. Can you come and look at this? And it was just a small, tiny little chip that you'd have to have a fucking magnifying glass to look for. But anywho, I'm like, sure, I will pop back on Wednesday afternoon and look at it, fix it up for you. No worries at all. So I rock up to this house to fix this job, and the client's son is out the front. And if you're thinking, oh, okay, they must have young children. No, this bloke's about 25, right? And he's sitting out the front in their little patio area as I pull up. And as I've opened my car door, I can only smell the undisguisable smell of marijuana, of weed. This dude is sitting there smoking a joint. And I've gone, oh, cool. Fucking sick. And so I walk up to him and he goes, oh, hey, mate, how are you? And I go, not as good as you by the looks of it. And we've fucking let out a little chuckle. It's broken the ice. We're fucking mates now, right? And he goes, yeah, mum said I had to come let you in or something. You just got to pop in and fix something. I'm like, yeah, you just chill out here. I'll go do what I got to do. I'll be 10 minutes or so. So I take my tools in. I start doing what I'm doing. And then as I'm mid-fixing this, I just hear the door slam and someone run upstairs. And I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on here? And then a couple seconds later, in enters the mum, like the lady that I've dealt with the entire time, right? She walks in. Before she even says hello to me, she just looks at me and goes, it smells like weed in here. And straight away, I'm thinking that she thinks I'm the culprit. I'm the one bringing the devil's lettuce into her fucking sanctuary, the vegan cigarette, if you will. And I've gone, oh, does it? Obviously it fucking does, dickhead. I perform some of the worst acting I'd ever seen in my life. And then old mate, luckily enough, walks back downstairs before she can press me any further. And I've never looked so closely at some cabinetry before in my life, but I'm eyes on the cabinet. I'm pretending that I'm doing the most detailed fix of my life. In hindsight, I'd already fixed the problem. I just did not want to walk into the middle of what was about to happen. So then she starts like pressuring her son. She's like, oh, it smells like weed in here again. Fucking Troy or whatever your name was. And he goes, oh, does it? And she goes, yeah, you haven't been smoking again, have you? And he goes, actually, I saw the neighbor's kids in the backyard smoking again. And I'm like, cunt. That's the worst fucking excuse in the book. But and then this is what I was waiting for. I was waiting for her to look at me and go, did you see him smoking weed? And if she had done that, I would have had to have faked a heart attack or something. I ain't no snitch. I ain't no snitch on this poor kid just trying to fucking chill out on his Wednesday afternoon, you know what I mean? But from the music he was listening to and the little rhymes that he was singing to himself, I think he's trying to become an Australian rapper. So who knows? One day he might be on the couch beside me. But yeah, that was another can't get any worse moment of my week. But I think that was that was the full story. It's going nowhere from there. Scratch that. I think that was fucking all that's happened this week. Let's get into my week in comedy, eh? Beautiful Logan tap water. Where are we at? 24 minutes. Not too bad. Not too bad. So first gig, Wednesday night, had the Logan City Tavern. Now, I've never done this one before. Now, if everyone is like, oh, Logan City, don't you mean Woodridge? No. Do not dead name the suburb. That is like calling someone who's transitioned the incorrect gender. They are Logan City now, not Woodridge. So I was open to the gig. I was looking forward to it. You know what I mean? It's 20 minutes from my house, nice local one. Let's fucking do this. And as I've got to the venue, I've gone, I don't want to get out of my car. I'm looking around. There's shady characters everywhere. Everyone's on a fucking push bike. There's no cars. Everyone's on a push bike. Everyone's got a backpack. Everyone's got fucking 3 teeth and a hat that they bought from the markets that week. I am scared as fuck. This is not a joke. I did not make it to the front door without 2 people asking me for money. Now, to ask people for money at a pub that's a bold move. You know what I mean? That's some balls because it's only going one place. If I gave you $10, I reckon you would have made it inside the venue before I made it. So I've had to do the old, got nothing on me, mate. Sorry. And then luckily enough, they were sweet with it. I'm sure they get it all the time. I walk into the venue and, walk into the little function room that the comedy's happening in. Decent crowd. There was probably like 40-ish there, 40 people or so. And the show started. I don't know why. I just had to walk out of the room for whatever reason. So I've started walking around the pub, just checking it out. And then it was my time. So there was basically the way that night ran, it was like a new comedians competition sort of night. So it had 3 people that are like regular people in the scene that are sort of probably around my level, if I had to say that. Then they were going to do the new comedian competition in the middle. That was 3 people that have never done comedy before. So they had 3 to 5 minutes on stage to see if it was for them, I guess. And yeah, it's been a while since I've seen like someone brand new in the scene. You know what I mean? Like especially their first night. Like there's only one person who remembers seeing me the first night, and that's fucking Lloyd that's been on the podcast before. And he likes to remind me of it anytime he can. But hats off to these 3. Got up there and yeah, they were pretty funny. So definitely better than I was my first time. And then for whatever reason, I had to close out the night. I was the last on stage. So jumped up there. And look, it was a cruisy set. Let's say that. There was no highs, there was no lows. I was just up there. I was getting some steady laughs. Nothing to write home about, you know what I mean? If I had to throw a statistic out there though, definitely the most crackheads I've performed in front of to date. I don't know what's coming up this week. We could compete with that stat, but definitely the most crackheads I've performed to, which could be my crowd. Maybe that's my... Everyone says find your niche and just narrow down on that. That could be my niche. We'll have to fucking wait and see. But Thursday night, I went back down to a prey surf. I don't know what to say about this one. Like I've said, one of my favourite rooms at the moment just to fuck around in. But this night there's probably 6 people there. 6, yeah, maybe 8 people. I don't know. But they were not there for it. And I was like, fuck. So I've just spoken into the void and ditched a bit of my material just to talk to them. And like every now and then when you try and talk to someone, you'll get something to chuckle about, you know what I mean? But I was just having a conversation with them on stage. I was just like, hey, what are you guys up to? And then they didn't want to really be involved. And I'm like, this is fucking sick. So my whole set, I was just performing a bit and then I'd be like, that's awesome. That is so good. But a bit of there's nothing else to say other than a bomb. Brutal bombing. But then I didn't plug this one last week because I got offered it after the recording, but last night, Sunday night, I got a gig down at the casino. So I haven't done the casino since it moved from Wednesday nights to Sunday nights. So I didn't know what to expect. And surprisingly, rocked up to a pretty decent room. There was probably 50 people there, which sometimes on the Wednesday nights down there, it was a little patchy in areas, you know what I mean? I reckon it was probably 20 to 30. So it was pretty full on last night. And I was nervous because the MC got up. And I'd never met the MC before. I think he might have been an out-of-towner maybe. And he's having a little bit of a tough time to crack him. And I was on third or fourth, I think. And by the time I got on there, luckily they were all fucking lubed up and ready for it. And had a sneaky crush. Had a fucking sneaky crush on a Sunday night for a gig that I wasn't even supposed to be on. So that sort of made the week worth it. It was a sick gig. Here's a little bit of inside baseball. I know I like to fill you guys in on shit like this, but those 3 new bits that I was talking about last week, where I was like, I was working all week on them and then fucking took them to a gig and they crushed. That was the only night they crushed. I did them on Wednesday and Thursday night and they fucking suck. They got nothing. And it could have just been the crowds, and I don't fucking like saying that. Like, I don't like being like, oh, fucking shitty crowd. But like, what I do with new material is I sort of gauge it on like my tried and tested material that normally does well. So if they're not laughing at my tried and tested shit, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe it's just one of those nights. Or maybe I'm just a dog shit comedian, which, hey, a lot of people would agree with. And that's based on our 4.1 star rating on Spotify. My dog is going nuts outside, but my cameras are not going off. So let's hope everything's okay out there. Anyway, yeah, those new bits. So last night I was like, I'm going to try them one more time. I feel there's something in them. There are 3 bits in a very long time that I've written and sat back and laughed at myself and gone, those are fucking funny. And I did them again last night. Fuck me. The best jokes in my entire set. They leveled the room. I was like, this is fucking sick. I knew there was something in them. I just needed a crowd that was fucking up for it and ready to go. So, yeah, they were awesome to realize that they somewhat work. But I've spoken to Nikita and I don't know if I can do them. I don't know. One of them I can do, but 2 of them I don't know if I can do with certain people in the room, Nikita being one of them, without getting me in some hot water, you know what I mean? But hey, that's part of comedy. Everything I say on stage is a little bit, it's a story that happened, but it's beef the fuck up for comedy purpose. Exactly like I spoke about last week with Nikita. It's all ramped up in the name of comedy. If I get up there and say a boring story, it's fucking boring. I've got to put a little bit of salt on it, put a little bit of pepper. I've got to get it nice and seasoned, ready for people to laugh at. So yeah, a couple of those things I need to tiptoe around, but they'll be fine. But that's all that happened in my week in comedy this week. I wanted to touch on this a little bit this week. So nothing much has really popped out in the news that's really jumped at me. I know there's hurricanes and shit going on over in America. I don't like to touch on like sensitive shit like that on the podcast. So I'm like, what can I talk about this week that's happened? And I've sucked the mighty dick of Elon Musk a lot on this podcast, right? I think he's one of the best minds of definitely our generation, but it's arguable multiple generations. Like the shit that he's come up with and brought to fruition is insane. But this week it's like, whoa. Pump the brakes on Mr. Musk. I think like these are the first ones that I've sat back at and gone, this is a little bit scary. But yeah, I got some videos that are going to explain it a bit better than me. But basically, I'll play this one first because this one was actually pretty cool. I thought this was cool. Now, anyone listening on headphones, this could be loud. So let me drag it across. Where are we? Why are you not dragging? This is sick. Again, anyone in the Brisbane area that wants to come and be a fucking producer, let me know. Actually, oh no. Oh no, 1 sec. He hasn't turned the Bluetooth on. He's a fucking idiot. Where is it? Bluetooth, Rodecaster. It's connecting, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delay. This should work. So this is basically the first time in history, I believe, don't quote me, this is not a quoting podcast. Everything we say on here is non-factual, so do not fucking quote me. But I believe that this is the first time that something has been like sent up into space and then landed successfully. No, that's not fucking true because people have come back from the moon. I don't know what the fuck this is. Adrian is going to be punching his phone screen right now, and I'm looking forward to that so much. But basically, this is one of Elon Musk's rocket boosters successfully landing is what the caption says. And I thought it was pretty cool to see it come back. Like maybe that's the thing. Maybe every time something's landed back on Earth, it's more or less just been like a crash into the ocean sort of thing with a parachute. I don't know. I'm not a fucking spaceman. But he basically lands his rocket back where it took off from. So press play. It's got no sound. That's fucking awesome. Why has it got no sound? Oh, there we go. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Now that I bring it on the podcast, I'm like, that wasn't the coolest thing to bring to the podcast. Just like when I brought that whale eating the other whale to the podcast, and Ash and Adrian were like, this is fucking lame. But anyway, let's play the cooler shit. This one is the not so scary one. Oh no, that's not fucking it, dickhead. Whoa. So this is basically Elon bought out a minivan, like a Tesla minivan and a cybercab, which I'll let this dude explain it because he's going to explain it better than me.
Tesla just unveiled a car with no pedals or a steering wheel. So this is the brand new Tesla Cybercab, and it's a fully autonomous car that will pick you up, drive you to your destination, and drop you off without you having to do anything. It has room inside for 2 people, a ton of trunk space, and a giant center screen that will let you watch content, play music, or use for work. And according to Elon, you'll be able to buy this entire vehicle for under $30,000, with production hopefully starting in 2026. But that's not all. Tesla also unveiled this giant bus called the Robovan. It has room for up to 20 people and will also drive you to your destination completely on its own. But somehow Tesla managed to make it even uglier than the Cybertruck. Tesla's goal with all of this is to make transportation cheaper, safer, and more accessible to people everywhere. So whether you're a literal dog, a kid, or just a busy adult, you can get from point A to point B while also being able to use that time to do whatever you want. Let me know if you guys would ever ride in one of these down in the comments.
Does that not scare the fuck out of anyone else? Like, to have a car with no pedals and no steering wheel, just relying on that car to get you from A to B. I don't know if I could do it. I know, obviously, like that's been Tesla's thing since the start is you can put them on autopilot or whatever it is and they drive themselves. But fuck me, just to not have pedals or a steering wheel, that would scare the fuck out of me. And the other thing, the van, it's pretty fucking ugly. It's called the Robo Van, but Elon's like, no, it's called the Robovan or something. I'm like, dude, fucking, you're grasping at straws. But anyway, this is a scary one. Ready? Let me drag it over. This scared the fuck out of me when I saw it. So look at these bad boys.
It'll basically do anything you want. So it can be a teacher, babysit your kids. It can walk your dog, mow your lawn, get the groceries, just be your friend, serve drinks. Whatever you can think of, it will do. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. I think this will be the biggest product ever of any kind.
Fuck me. That scared the... So question 1, how long until one of them snaps or a group of them all band together and just be like, we don't have to listen to these stupid fucking humans like every robot movie ever made? Question 2, how long till someone puts a vagina on one? Like he said, they can just be your friend if you want. For sure. Someone is going to try and fuck one of those and have to go to the emergency room with a giant fucking Tesla robot attached to his dick. But yeah, I thought that was freaky. Don't know if that freaked you guys out. Yeah, that's all I had for Mr. Elon. Things I've watched this week. I've rewatched, I don't know if you guys have seen this, Instant Family. I liked it when it first came out, and I was bored at work the other day while I was doing a big quote. So I was like, what can I sit up on my desk here to watch while I'm quoting to make it a little bit better? And Instant Family popped up. So it's basically Mark Wahlberg and what's the Australian chick? I don't remember her name, but you'll know her if you fucking Google the movie. But yeah, it's basically just about them adopting kids. Real tearjerker if you're into that shit. It wasn't the right movie to watch at work. Like I was like halfway through the movie, I'm like, fucking, I hope nobody comes in here right now. Like just bawling my eyes out over an adoption movie. But yeah, go check that out. It's on Netflix. And the other thing I started after I finished that, just to boost my spirits, I haven't finished this yet. I'm 2 or 3 episodes in. So I'll probably do more of a recap next week, but I think it's called The Starting Five, which is it's like the NBA doco that Netflix brought out this week. It basically follows 5 NBA players in their life and shit, and it's pretty cool. The only thing I haven't liked so far is it follows LeBron James, who's obviously seen as like one of the best of all times, all right? And you just want to see him as like this fucking animal, right? Just snapping necks. And sometimes you don't want to see behind the curtain. Like he's just a real sort of soft. Look, I hate saying this. It seemed like there was something a little bit off about him. Like he was super into Halloween and he's like dressing up in costumes and he just seemed, and he even said this himself and it like clicked back into the whole Michael Jackson thing for me. I'm not relating LeBron James to Michael Jackson or anything that Michael Jackson could have done at some stage in his career. But LeBron said this on the documentary, so I thought like it was cool. It clicked in my head. He's like, I was drafted when I was like however young. He's like, so I never got to have like a childhood. Like from the first game that I played in the NBA, people were comparing me to Michael Jordan, all that, Kobe Bryant, saying I'm going to be the best of all time. He's like, I could not go to the movies with my friends. I could not go to the shops. I'd just be swarmed, people wanting photos and autographs. He's like, so basically I got no childhood just to follow my dream. So I guess that's why now like he dips a little bit into trying to be a child now that he's older. I don't fucking know, but because I know that's why Michael Jackson made like Neverland and all that, like because he never got to really have a childhood. So he's like, I'll just be a child now. I'm not going to talk about Michael Jackson and children in the same sentence. Let's move on to something better. And I'm sorry this has to follow this. But again, this might flow on to next week a little bit. But I touched on it last week. Old Nedd Brockmann trying to beat the 1,000-mile record. He was supposed to finish at 3:30 a.m. this morning, Monday morning. But it was pretty clear from about day 5 to 6, I reckon, is when reality hit and the record was no longer in sight. So he more or less put I think it was a story or a reel or something out on Friday. And he's like, look, the goalposts have adjusted or the goalposts have moved. He's like, the team has assessed and it looks like we might be on track for another record. He's like, so I'm just going to keep running until that one's done. Now, if you log on to TikTok Live and watch this man run around this track 10 days in, it's mind-blowing to see that his body is still fucking moving like that. I put up a bit of a reel yesterday or a video or post, whatever you want to call it. It got me up and about. I put the shoes on yesterday morning and just went out for a run. And the furthest I've ever run is 10 kilometers, right? And I was wrecked after that. Now, I haven't run for about 12 months. So I was like, if I get 5Ks, anything over 5Ks, I'm stoked with. I ended up doing, I think it was 16Ks. So it's the furthest I've ever run. And today my body, this is the weird thing. My body is fucking wrecked. Like every muscle in like my shoulders, my stomach, like legs are obviously fucking written off. But my whole body is just like, what the fuck have you done to us right now? But on the flip side, I've also haven't felt this good in so long to just get out, get your body moving like that, doing something that it hasn't done for so long. Like as much as my body is hurting at the moment, all I want to do this afternoon is go for another run, which I know is fucking probably stupid and going to kill my body even more. But the other thing I'm so surprised about is like my knee felt amazing the entire run. I thought it was going to blow out around 2 to 3 kilometers in, but I was at like 12 kilometers. I'm like, why aren't you fucking braking right now? So yeah, the only minor injuries I got on the whole run was like my groin went about like 6 kilometers in, and it just fucking agony. Hey, that's like one of the most like worst spots to have a little twinge, just because every step it's just like and then my ankles as well, which is I've always had clicky ankles and shit. Like when I walk upstairs, it's just snap, 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 which is always fun. But what did I say before? Where I was talking about every step. Don't remember, but I should have fucking spoken about this in the same sentence, so it made sense. But let's pretend this makes sense because it just popped in my head somehow. Nikita is into all her like natural beauty products and soaps and shampoos and all that sort of shit, and I fucking hate them. You know what I mean? Like the body wash that she's had for the last couple of weeks, you'll pump it in your hand, and before you even get it to your body, it's like it's either dripped away or it's just like absorbed into your skin already, and it's dog shit. It's absolute dog shit. And I don't know what it is. I'm not going to name and shame the brand. So I've been on her case. I'm like, just get me one with all the toxins in it. I want all the toxins in this body wash, right? And she comes home yesterday with this new body wash, and I look at it. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And she's like, new body wash. And I'm looking at it, and it's a white liquid with balls in it that are fucking, I don't know, like little gel blaster balls basically. And I'm like, that's got like balls and shit in it. And she's like, yeah, it's like an exfoliating abrasive one to get all your dead skin off because you've got fucking gross skin. And I'm like, I have to wash my dick with that. Like, and she's like, she pissed her pants when I said that. I'm like, you want me to wash the head of my dick with these fucking abrasive little balls, just scrubbing the fuck out of it? And she like, I was digging deeper in it and she was losing it. But I'm like, it's like fucking washing my body with liquefied sandpaper. Liquefied sandpaper, that could be a good one. I genuinely don't know. I'm trying to think back how I tied that in. It's something I said reminded me of like sandpaper or something. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, relating, I don't want to say I'm on the same page as Nedd Brockmann, you know what I mean? But did we both go for a pretty big run? Yeah, I suppose you could say that. Do we both have blisters on our feet? Yes. Are we in the same boat? Yes. But if you haven't donated, go donate. Like, he's doing all this for no money for himself. Everything is going to homelessness for a charity called We Are Mobilised. So go donate to one of them. If you don't want to just donate pure money, there's all other ways. You can go and buy a Nedd's milk from 7-Eleven. They do chalky milks, iced coffees. Any Nedd Brockmann merch that you can get from Rebel Sports or on his website, a percentage of that all goes to the charity. So if you want something for your donation, if you're that kind of person, go buy a fucking shirt or a hat or something and then help in that way. But yeah, he's still going at the moment. He's still fucking running. So I think this is like day 11 of just running nonstop. And this is another thing that blew my mind. So he's a size 9.5 in shoes, and he's now running in a size 12 shoe just because his feet are so fucking swollen. But I checked out the live feed just before I started. He's one of his legs is fully fucking braced up with strapping tape and shit now, and he's just got a real hobble and limp on. But yeah, it's insane what he's fucking doing. And also I was like, part of me was wondering, I was like, why isn't he getting like all these big fucking celebrities and shit out running with him? Because he's always just got like 2 of his mates running with him every now and then. And then they've been doing these little shows on TikTok Live, and his manager or whatever he is, he's like, well, Nedd runs with his mates all day, every day. They always go on little runs together. They have a laugh while they're running. They're having fun. Like, they're fucking mates. Like, who else would Nedd want to hang out with when he's that deep in the Hurt Locker? Like, you know what I mean? Like, sure, it'd be cool for a couple of seconds to run a lap with David Goggins or someone, you know what I mean? But when he's like that he would be mentally fucked right now. And he said that on his stories. He's like, I'm in a fucking dark place right now, just running this circle nonstop. But it just absolutely blows my mind what he's trying to do. So again, he hasn't finished the challenge just yet. So I might even touch on it a little bit further next week. Go support the man. Make this all fucking worth it for him. But Premature premise this week. This is one that I'm going to play with this week, and it's part of the show that I'm writing. But what I've been doing with these newer bits is basically just taking a little snippet out of the show and just seeing if that works. I think I said that before on here, but this is the one that I want to play with this week and over the next couple of weeks. Is it's a bit of a funny one, but basically I'm an only child, right? And people always throw around that stereotype of if you've got a sibling and you punch them or hurt them or something and they start screaming and crying and you just try and comfort them and you're like, oh, mum will hear or dad will hear or something. And I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, that sort of thing. So everyone's always like, oh, you'd never fucking know what it was like to have a younger brother or something and you've got to try and shut them up real quick before mum or dad hear. But like I grew up with a heap of cousins and shit and they always used to beat the fuck out of me. So in a way I knew what it was like. But this is the funny correlation that I'm going to make for the show. So it's more or less a more detailed version of what I just said to break it down a little bit better for the audience. But my correlation is along the lines of, yeah, I know exactly what it's like to try and do that. And then they'll be like, oh, why? And then I'll be like, well, have you ever lived in a house with your parents, with your girlfriend when you're 18, and then you've got cum in their eye and you've got to be like, shh, mum will hear. And then just painting the visual picture of just trying to comfort your girlfriend screaming in agony so that nobody comes in the room. So yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. That's what I'll be playing with this week. Let me know whether you guys think it's funny or not. I think it's funny, so I'm going to make it funny regardless. Motivational clip for the week. This one popped up and I was like, this is pretty cool because let me drag it across. It's just two of the goats that feature more than they should on this podcast. I should get some new characters on the podcast. Maybe I'll invent my own characters. How's that sound? But this is just Rogan and Goggins having a chat on the podcast back in the day. I'll press play, then we'll talk about it.
Idea of reaching this golden year, it's a very flawed idea because it's an idea that you're gonna work hard, but then you're gonna reach the finish line. But there's no finish line. No. It doesn't exist.
That's the scary thing about life, my friend.
That is a scary thing, right?
And that's what fatigues me. People go, man, why don't you ever smile? There's no fucking end, my friend. There's no end. There's no end.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny because it's so true. Like, and again, I spoke about it only a couple of weeks ago. If you told me 12 months ago that I'm doing what I'm doing now in relation to comedy gigs and getting paid as much as I am to do comedy, the like listeners of the podcast and shit like that, like it'd be crazy that I would stand back and say to that same person, oh yeah, like that, you've hit the finish line. Like there literally is no finish line. Like one day, hopefully, I'm like selling out tours and shit as a comedian and I'm going to be on to the next thing. I'm going to be like trying to sell a show to Netflix or something or fucking, who knows? I might want to do something else by then. I might want to come back to cabinet making. Might redo my cabinet making apprenticeship. But yeah, I could relate to that. I don't know if you guys can, that the goalposts are always moving. They're always shifting and there's no finish line. Until the day that you die, there's probably going to be something that you're striving to achieve. Hopefully, if you're like-minded. But anyway, let's, what have I got to plug this week? Going on my next little regional tour. That's what I'm doing. So let's hope this one pans out a little bit better than the last one. Although, as I spoke about, got a lot of good things out of that last one. So either way, it's going to be fucking fun. Thursday the 18th, I'm going to be at Harvey Bay. Probably should have looked up the venue. But if you want to come and you're in Harvey Bay, hit me up. And then the following night, Friday the 19th, I'll be in Gympie. So if you want to come to that one, hit me up as well. I'll send you the ticket links. And if you can't make it to either of those gigs, send me some questions. Send me some is it correlation? I don't think it's correlation. Just fucking have a conversation with me on DM. You know what I mean? On Instagram at Instagram. Why did I just say Instagram? I'm fucking rattled. This is the worst part, to lose traction of a podcast when you're wrapping it up. But send me a DM on Instagram at holy fuck, I just said it again. Instagram at CantGetAnyWorsePodcast, or via email at CantGetAnyWorsePodcast. CantGetAnyWorsePod@gmail.com. Holy fuck. Is this a record for the worst sign off of all time? I think it is. But yeah, if you can't make it to any of those shows, if you don't want to send through a question or an email or something, fucking just share the podcast around to some mates. Tell someone at a barbecue this week. Tell your fucking dentist. I'm going to tell the lady at the Department of Transport this morning about the podcast, and she's going to listen next week. So it only takes telling one person for them to jump on board, and then you guys can be at work tomorrow and be like, oh, did you hear that funny story about James and that guy that got caught smoking weed by his mum? Yeah, that was so funny. Let's go buy his fucking his hat or something. But anyway, if I don't talk to you before next week, I will see you later.